I'm not saying it was going to be a hard decision, but it was probably the right decision and the one to protect herself because her mom passed away recently and she and her sister found her mom's journals. Like to not read them would take Herculean strength, but I think it's probably important.
So the first sister hit us up and she's like, Mom has passed away and she has these journals, diaries, whatever you want to call them. But they knew this about their mother. She was very private. Anybody came into the room while she was writing her journals, she immediately put it away. Like she kept these private for a reason and never once suggested that she wanted anybody in the family to read them. Well, Mom passes away. They've come across the journals and she was reaching out to us to see, should I or should I not? And it was a mixed bag as far as listeners who called in. One person was adamant. They were like, danger, do not proceed. Whatever you do, don't do it.
It's not exactly like you can ask follow-up questions.
Exactly.
If there's something in there that you don't quite understand, there's no time for follow-ups.
No, there's not.
You know why?
Because they did.
Because Mom's dead.
Yeah. And then somebody else was like, if you have a good relationship and you yearn for that closeness, yes, go for it. Read them. They're there. And there's who knows what insight you can get on your mother. And she and her sister were definitely butting heads because she was leaning on the side of not going to do it. And the sister's like, no, absolutely. Like, I'm going to, from cover to cover, we're going to do this. And the follow-up email came from the actual sister. So she's like, hey, heard you guys talking about this. Here's the deal. I don't care who you are or what you have to say. This is my life and my mother's journals, and I'm going to read them. And she was just going to try to get to them before her sister did because she was afraid her sister would take them, burn them, destroy them. So she was... The one sister had every intention of going through and reading them this weekend.
Think of the leverage you'd have if you were the sister that read the journal. Because you would just say, oh, my God, Mom really did love me more than you. And she said it time and time again in these journals. But you'll never know it because you're not reading it.
That's so petty. I would be pissed if I was the sister.
All right, so what happened and who do we have the email from? Is it the original sister or is it the follow-up sister?
It looks like it's the original sister.
Okay. OG sis.
Hey, Bert Show. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it to my mom's house and get the journals before my sister did. And I was so crushed. By the time I had gotten there, I could tell she had already been there and the journals were gone. I called her immediately and she didn't answer. I tried multiple times and even drove to her house. She wasn't home. I'd been texting her all weekend long and didn't get a single response until about 30 minutes ago. She told me she did take them, and she said that she had read them. She said now that she had read them, she plans to destroy them. I asked if she was happy with herself, and she said she was glad she had read them and that she would just leave it at that. She said she will not tell me anything that was in them. So now I'm feeling really torn again. I didn't want to read the journals. However, I didn't want her to read them either. Now that she has, I don't like the idea of her knowing our mother better than I do.
She doesn't know your mother better than you do. That's not what that means.
Now it feels like she has the secret between the two of them that I'll never be a part of. It hardly seems fair that she gets to feel a deeper connection to my mom simply because I chose to respect my mother's wishes.
Okay, hit pause. See, in that sense right there, she gets to feel a deeper connection. No, she doesn't. You get to feel a deeper connection with your mom because you respected your mother's wishes. It
100%.
all depends on how you look at this.
And you can't control anybody else.
No.
I mean, she did what she did. You can't alter what you're doing just because your sister did what she did.
Does this change things? Do I need to read the journals too, or do I let my sister keep the secrets and destroy the journals?
She's just letting the curiosity get to her.
Yes,
That's all it is. You know, now you're thinking to yourself, what does my sister know that I don't know? I think you should see this exactly how Kristen said. You actually kept a more genuine connection with your mom by respecting her wishes. I would just completely just get this all out of my mind and move on.
And this sister better not be like lording this over her head.
I know.
Bringing it up at Thanksgiving, bringing it up at Christmas, about like these little tidbits she knows about mom that she doesn't.
Or the sister will start with something like, oh, you know what mom had in her journal? Oh, that's right. You don't want to know. Never mind. Absolutely. Never mind. My bad. My bad.
Ooh, that wouldn't go well.
Look, you're protecting yourself in the best way possible. What your sister is doing has no bearing on you whatsoever, has no bearing on your relationship with your mom and your now deceased mom. Zero.
It does.
Let it go. You did the right thing. You know what? This isn't a competition, Cass.
There's one thing I would ask, and I would say, is there anything bombshell in those journals that I need to know. Like if I were adopted or something like that, I would want to know for a medical history. Otherwise, if it's just daily like life dribble and problems, I don't want to read it. You can keep that. But if there's something I need to know that would affect the course of my life or how I handle things in my life, that's what I would ask the sister to tell me. Otherwise, I wouldn't read them.
You would think that she would volunteer that, though. I mean, if one sister is adopted, you would volunteer that. There's something that you need to know.
Okay, so Cassie, as the only one who's a woman who has a sister, and so the sister-sister relationship is unique, and you and Alyssa were going through this, how would you handle?
If Alyssa was the one reading it,
Yes.
I genuinely would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Except I'd probably expand it. Like, is there anything about the family in there? Like, that's bombshell that I should know? Like, what's the hot goss? But if it's just like daily stuff about how my mom is feeling and her struggles and her ups and downs, that's private. If there is bombshell news that we should know as a family, that needs to be shared. I would not be happy with her reading it. And I probably would have burned the journals outright, knowing how private they were.
Yeah.
Would you be able to forgive your sis?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I people deal with grief differently. And, you know, she had said the other sister wanted to read these journals to keep mom's diary or mom's memory alive. And even though I don't agree with it, I couldn't tell somebody else how to handle their grief and how to handle that connection. I'd probably just warn her there might be stuff in there that you don't want to know and might change your perception of mom.
The Bert Show.
So, first, thanks for watching. Second, you like what you just watched? That just scratches the surface. Get The Bert Show on any podcast platform. We're so good.